So for chapter 1, um, explain the concept of globalization and its positive and negative impact on the countries involved. So basically, globalization is sort of the interconnectedness between um, countries' economies around the world. And this is through like trade, investment, um, communication, things like that. So it's sort of like how they all connect and interact with each other. There are a lot of positive impacts that come from globalization, such as economic growth. That's a big one. Job production and creation, and a higher living standard for the countries that sort of partake in that. There are some negative qualities too. Some of the negative, sort of, not negative impact. Negative impacts would be sort of increased inequality and environmental problems. The environment a lot of the time gets affected through globalization. For example, how countries ship products and stuff like that to other countries uses carbon gas and carbon emissions, and it releases that stuff into the air. So, and that's sort of an example of how of like a negative impact. So for number 2, explain the significance of IMF, World Bank, and the WTO. So the IMF provides loans and financial assistance to countries facing economic difficulties, and this sort of helps sustain or make a country have a more stable economy with finances and stuff like that. The World Bank provides loans and technical assistance to developing countries to support economic development. And the WTO sets and enforces rules for international trade and resolves any trade disputes between countries. So the WTO is kind of like sort of like the law, I guess. These are the people who are going to like enforce it and settle any disputes that may occur, because there are going to be a lot of disputes in free trade and sort of when companies interact with each other. So when countries can't decide on something, that's when the WTO comes into play. And it's sort of kind of like it's like in the way I see it, it's like an arbitrator, I guess. So like, I don't know if that's how the process actually goes or not, but in my head, that's just kind of what makes sense to me. Because I kind of see it through like sports and like agents and their players trying to sign with teams, like in the MLB or something like that. So that's just kind of how I kind of connect that together to kind of understand them better. So they're kind of like the arbitrator, and they'll help decide, how a dispute's going to be resolved. And of course, the last question is, how has technology aided in the evolution of trade on a global scale? So, technology has been huge for globalization for many reasons. One of the biggest ones would be through communication. You can easily now connect with consumers, suppliers, investors from all over the world now, versus only being able to kind of stick to your local area. Now, and you can just call up or you can maybe find new investors and call them up, or same with, finding where new consumers could be, on the other side of the planet. Maybe you can do some market research or something in another country and see if that country's a fit. So that's sort of something that technology has helped. Transportation as well. We're getting better and more efficient with our transportation as technology gets better and better. I kind of picture that like almost like Amazon, I guess, because as the technology has gotten better, companies have been able to do that same day shipping type thing because they can communicate better. I guess that goes back to communicating. Okay, that goes back to communicating. But I don't know. They're just a lot more efficient when it comes to transportation. But also, as technology advances more, we can also be more environmentally friendly with our transportation, which is really big, especially in today's society. And production too. We can make things more efficiently now. A really broad example, rather than building things by hand, we have machines that can build them and be more precise and a lot quicker. So that sort of thing. That's sort of the things that I have written down. Technology just helps in many, many ways. Through communication, transportation, and productivity. So that is everything for chapter 1.